Ben, Kieran, how the hell are ya?
Biscuit.
Well, I'm going to review episodes 3 and 4. And in episode 3, the bands were told that they're going to record their original songs with a renowned producer named Eddie Kramer in his East West studios. Carrie Keegan, who's the host of the show, has also notified the bands at the last minute that they are going to be doing an unplugged concert that night. On this episode, the guest rocker was none other than Lita Ford. So Lita Ford goes to each one of the band studios to watch them rehearse for their unplugged concert and get ready for the recording session. Now, the first band that Lita jammed with was Tugboat Circus. Now, Tugboat Circus is the Mark Hudson Orchestra. Tugboat Circus did I Want You to Want Me. And Lita Ford really dug Janelle's vocals. And to be totally honest with you, I dig Janelle's vocals too. Janelle, for a chick, sings with balls of motherfucking steel. Now, as far as Tugboat Circus goes, what I've seen so far is that the weak link in the band seems to be Josh, who is the guy that got kicked out of Warrant. The next band that Lita went to listen to and jam with was Proton Saints. Now, Proton Saints is the Rudy Sarzo Orchestra, and they played Come On, Feel the Noise. Just to be totally fair to Kieran here, this song was totally out of his range, and not a song that is even fit for him to do. Now, I gotta give him credit, because he did give it the old college try in the last episode, even though it really sucked. But now here's the guy that's got to do a song that the last time he did it, it really sucked. He knows it sucks, and now he's got to do it in front of Lita Ford. So instead of giving it the old college try and at least doing with balls of steel, he doesn't even try. Now, when Lita was visiting with the Proton Saints, the band got a chance to ask Lita any question that they wanted to. And most of them had some pretty good questions, but when it came Heather's time to ask a question, Heather told Lita that Heather had her own band and asked Lita if she wanted to be in her band. Needless to say, Rudy got a little bit miffed and thought that was like one of the stupidest things that he had ever heard. That here this chick has a chance to ask a rock star anything that she wants to ask and get some valuable information. And the thing she asks her is, do you want to be in my band? Now, when Proton Saints was working on their original song, Rudy asked Heather if she has any ideas. And Heather tells Rudy she's got some ideas for some dance moves. And Rudy promptly tells Heather that she's not ready for dance moves, that she needs to learn how to play the guitar rather than just wear the guitar. Now, the funny thing is my opinion on Heather is still the same. Yeah, she's nice to look at, but she can't play with the She was selected on this show, I think, just to give it something to look at. Now, the sad thing is that Heather is by far the worst musician out of the whole bunch, but she seems to have the most success outside of the show. If you put her name, Heather Williams, into Google, you see her name pop up all over the place. She's even got some advertising gigs selling guitars, for God's sake. I'll tell you, there just is no justice in this world. The last band that Lita went to listen to and jam with was Firecracker Institute. Now, Firecracker Institute is the Kip Winger Orchestra, and they played School's Out. Now, Firecracker Institute was the first band to go up in the first episode, and they kicked ass on School's Out. And Perk, who is the lead singer in Firecracker Institute, really has a very powerful voice and really has pretty good stage presence. Now, the bass player for Firecracker Institute was seen in the comments section of this last video. Ben Rosnick, the real estate dude. Now, Ben's a very solid bass player, and I'm going to comment more on your bass playing when you do your original song in the final episode. But the one thing I can say about you, Ben, is you look very conservative. And you seem to play kind of conservative. You're not a real risk taker. Not like Kieran of Proton Saints. At least that guy's a risk taker. It doesn't work out for him all the time, but he's a risk taker. Now, the first band to play in the Unplugged concert was Firecracker Institute. They did an unplugged version of School's Out, which I thought absolutely rocked. Then, they were put on the spot to play their original song, Bury Me Alive. Now, at this point, Bury Me Alive was not a completed project. However, they were put on the spot and told they had to play it. Now, I thought, all things considered, that they did a pretty good job with Bury Me Alive, even though at that point, Bury Me Alive still needed some extra parts because it kind of sounded the same from the beginning to the end. But they didn't choke. They pulled it off, and I thought they pulled it off quite well, even though the crowd really didn't seem to react to it. And Kip Winger really didn't react to it either. In fact, he said in the next episode, I'll tell you about, he said he thought it sucked. Ben, I thought you guys did a good job on the unplugged version. The next band to go up was the Proton Saints, and they did an unplugged version of Come On Feel the Noise. Now this was the time when Kieran, the Kilted One, redeemed himself. They did a blues unplugged version of Come On Feel the Noise, which I thought they did a very, very good job on. And Kieran, you did redeem yourself on this one. The last band to go up was Tugboat Circus. And before Tugboat Circus played, Lita Ford went up on stage and gave Janelle her jacket, which was a very symbolic thing that gave Janelle the extra boost that she needed. And Tugboat Circus played an unplugged version of I Want You to Want Me and did an excellent job. And then they followed it up with their original Twist of Fate, which, plugged or unplugged, Twist of Faith is an awesome song. And again, Janelle delivers it with balls of motherfucking steel. Now, in episode number 4, the bands were told that in the final episode there was going to be a battle of the bands and that the winning band was going to get to play an encore. And that encore was going to be rock and roll all night and party every day. So the guest of honor in this episode was none other than Ace Frehley. Now, Ace Frehley is getting up there, but Ace Frehley is also starting to look a bit long in the tooth, you know? Ace, you put on a few pounds since the makeup days. Now, the sport coat you wore hid it pretty well, but you have, nonetheless, put on a few pounds. Now, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons have kept themselves in shape. So, Ace, do yourself a favor. You got to go hit the gym and hit the treadmill for a little bit, you know? Before Ace went and visited the bands, they all got a chance to run through rock and roll all night, party every day. The first band that Ace jammed with was Firecracker Institute. And Firecracker Institute did a great job playing with Ace. Ace played the solo with the band, and while they were playing the song, Ben, who has been in the comments section here, the bass player from Firecracker Institute, Ben, during the I wanna rock and roll all night, there's a part where there's just voices and no instruments. Ben is up there clapping above his head. And it looked genuine. It didn't look stupid. You look like you're really getting into it, Ben. I gotta tell you that. Now, for a conservative guy, a guy who takes no risks, you were taking a risk, and it paid off. The next band that Ace went and jammed with was the Proton Saints. And Proton Saints did a great job, too, with rock and roll all night, party every day. And Anoop, the guitar player from Proton Saints, actually did the guitar solo. And Ace actually gave him the old thumb. Well, he didn't give him the thumbs up, but he gave him the virtual thumbs up, if you know what I mean. The last band that Ace went and jammed with was the Tugboat Circus. Now, the Tugboat Circus totally fucked up the song. And our weak link, Josh, totally cuts off Ace when it's time to do the guitar solo. And Mark Hudson was not happy. The next thing that happens in this episode is that Kerry Keegan comes in and tells the bands they're going to go out drinking and partying with a couple of other stars. One of them is Matt Sorum, a drummer from Guns N' Roses, and the infamous Lemmy. Now, when they were at the bar drinking, Heather goes up to Lemmy and asks him if he wants to be in her band. Now, I can tell that Lemmy is looking at Heather and thinking to himself, and I can read his mind here. Lemmy's thinking that he'd like to tap that. But the thing is, with Lemmy, you know, Lemmy is a cool dude, but those two carbuncles on the side of your face there, Lemmy. There's twin carbuncles there on your cheek. And I'm just wondering, do they have a name? The next day, the bands go in to cut their original song. Now, they were told that they have 2 hours to cut their song. Now, before they go on, Rudy of the Proton Saints gives Gallo, the bass player, a pep talk and tells Gallo he wants to help him sound his best and gives him a brand new, nice PV bass. Now, when the bands go in the studio, the Proton Saints, led by the kilted one, Kieran, did an excellent job. Now, Kieran did his in one take. That's why I have to give you credit for that, kilted one, that you did yours, you did your vocals, you did a kick-ass on your vocals, and you did it in one take. So, here's a round of applause from DV just for you. Now, prior to going in and recording, the Firecracker Institute had to listen to Kip Winger tell them that their song sucked and that it needed a lot of work. So they spent some rehearsal time working it out, adding some new parts. And when Firecracker Institute did their song, Bury Me Alive, I thought it was awesome. It was a great song. You did a good job. Ben, you were solid. Perk was great on vocals. That song really came together, and the parts that they added in that last rehearsal really made a difference. But I gotta say that the shining star in the recording sessions had to be the Tugboat Circus and their original song, Twist of Fate. Now, when Janelle went in to do her vocals, she nailed it. She nailed it to the motherfucking wall. And not only did she nail it, but the song itself is a great song. It's got great verses. It's got a kick-ass chorus. And it's just, the whole thing has just got balls of steel. So anyway, that's it for episodes 3 and 4. I will do a review of the final episode. I don't know who's going to win the thing. Personally, I'm kind of leaning towards the Tugboat Circus right now. But Firecracker Institute is hot on their tail. And I hate to tell you this, Karen, but I think the Proton Saints are in last place.